In today's video, I'm going to be talking about something that so many of us have perceptions about and think about and see from the outside in when it comes to life in Dubai. And that's basically nannies. So in this video, I want to talk about nannies. I want to talk about the cost. I want to talk about my real life experience to give you a bit of an understanding. Look, when I first came to Dubai, I think it was about 10 years ago, I came on holiday and I remember looking around me and seeing all of these parents with nannies. And I just thought, oh my goodness. I remember the first time I ever saw it, I thought, wow, they must be so rich. They must be so rich that they've got a nanny to look after the kids. That was my first perception. So fast forward, we came to Dubai 3 or 4 times after that, and I kept seeing this, this same pattern, the nannies with the children. And then when we got here and we lived here after June in 2023, I started seeing it everywhere. For the first 6 months, obviously, I'd just go to the parks, I'd go to the schools, and all you'd see is nannies. Nannies with the kids, nannies with older kids, nannies everywhere. And I just thought, this seems to be really, really common here. Now, from being in the UK and raising 2 boys all alone, this was just very, very foreign to me. I was like, I must do it all myself. I'm not a good mother if I get this help, and I shouldn't be basically outsourcing my children to somebody else. Anyway, coming to Dubai, it kind of normalizes having a nanny, and from a perspective of 2 people that are working, because in this country there is no benefit system, there is no state system, there is no child tax credit, there is, you can have this lifestyle of raising your children at home. You've got to be working. So at the end of the day, I started to think about it from a logistical pragmatic point of view. Me and my husband were both working, and then basically it was becoming too much. Us consistently working, going to meetings, traveling far for all of these client meetings, and basically, having to do the school drop-offs in the initial days, all of that stuff, taking the child out to play, doing all these sorts of things. So basically, what I started to see and normalize was maybe we could actually try a nanny. This was something that was super foreign to me. I think my husband suggested it before me, and I was just like, no, not having it, not doing it, not for me. Those people, they're lazy, they don't want to look after their kids, they're outsourcing them, they're off-sourcing them, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, gave it, I think it was about 6 months after we've been here. And my husband went ahead and he basically got us a nanny. So the way you have to do it is, the process is you basically utilize a company who provides nannies. Then you have to pay for the visa for the nanny. And then there's a monthly wage that you have to pay the nanny also. We're not going to talk about wage costs in this video, but what I'm going to talk about is basically my experience with the nanny. So obviously, when we first moved here, like I said, we moved to Dubai Hills. It was a 2-bedroom apartment. So I think basically one of the first mistakes that we made was basically getting the nanny in an apartment that was really small. I mean, my own personal experience was this, that basically she'd finish all the, they do the cleaning, they help with the ironing, they do food prep, they take care of, probably just washing up the dishes and things like that. And then obviously cleaning, ironing. So stuff that a cleaner might do for you once a week, this was just happening on a consistent basis. But what I found in a 2-bedroom apartment, it was super congested. She was super efficient, so she'd finish really quick. And she'd come at 9 in the morning, and she'd leave at 5. And you can get the live-in nannies as well, but I didn't really want that. So it was just like a morning thing, come at 7, time for school prep, breakfast, school. She didn't do the drop-off, I did the school drop-off. And then basically like meal prep, cleaning, ironing, washing the clothes, washing the dishes, etc. And what I'd find is she'd finish really early. So because it was such a small apartment, she'd finish by the early afternoon, and then she'd just be standing around doing nothing. And then I thought, my goodness, I felt bad for her that she didn't have things to do, but I also felt bad that, you know what, I could easily be doing this and I don't know why I've employed someone. So first of all, for that first whole month, I was really in conflict with myself. Like, I should be doing this and why am I not doing this, and I could do this and why am I paying someone for it? Anyway, another thing and another issue that I found with it is that my youngest son, he was 6. And I just felt like that basically the nanny was bending over backwards for him, like putting, serving him a bit too much, not making him put his plate away, sort of helping him to get ready, and basically actually not allowing him to be independent or not teaching him what it was to be independent, even though I was in the background and I was doing that. But I found it doesn't really help to give children that sense of independence. It makes them slightly lazy. So I really wasn't appreciating that part of it. Or if they wanted a snack, not helping themselves in the kitchen. So basically it didn't instill that goodness in him that I thought, because the nannies are there to be serving, right? So their job is to serve. So I didn't really appreciate that aspect of it either. So my whole experience of having a nanny, we had the nanny from about November, December to January for about 3 months. And after that, I had to put my foot down. I could no longer justify having a nanny. Basically, there wasn't enough to do in terms of having a full-time nanny. My son was too old to have it. The apartment was too small. We were on top of each other. There was 5 people instead of 4. It was too much. And I don't believe there was sort of, a 40-hour week of worth of work for the nanny to do. So, in hindsight, would I get a nanny again? The answer is yes, I definitely would. Because in the UK and the lifestyle that I was brought up in, and in the Western world, you're taught that basically do it all yourself, be independent, don't ask for help. We can do it all. We can go to work. We can cook. We can take the kids to school. We can do their homework. We can take them to lessons. We can do everything. We can lose weight. We can do our beauty routine. And the truth of it is, no, you can't. I found that as I'm getting older, I don't want to have to do all of these things. It's too much. So, in hindsight, if I had younger children, I would definitely get a nanny to help with the cleaning, the food prep, all those sort of things. Not in terms of raising the child or the child's values. It's super important to keep that to the parents, because you have to appreciate that the education the nannies have had is not of the level that you're going to have as parents, and you shouldn't outsource values and morals and things that you want to pass on to your kids. So you shouldn't outsource that part. You should play a very active part in that part, in my opinion. But also, if the place that we had started with hadn't been a 2-bedroom and it was a villa like we're in now, it would have been a lot better. So they're the things that I learned in hindsight. Another thing that I learned in hindsight is that you don't necessarily have to go through an agency to get a nanny. There are other more cost-effective ways. You can get even ones that live in, ones that are even more part-time than 9 to 5. So there's so many things that I found out after that in relation to nannies. So there you are, guys. There's my perspective on the nanny. It was helpful. It wasn't for me at the time. So I hope that was helpful in helping you understand nannies in Dubai. It's very normal. I mean, almost every other person has a nanny. It's a very normal part of life. Just like in the Eastern world, in India, you have cleaners for the house and drivers and cooks. Here it's very normal to have a nanny. In the UK, it's super expensive. It's just the way it is. I hope that was helpful. Give me your comments on what you think. Have you had an experience with a nanny, or what your perception is of a nanny in Dubai, in the UAE? I'd love to hear. Thanks for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.